All right, let's talk about the edit real quick. Just a little update on it. So I'm not gonna give spoilers as to like what is happening in the edit or anything like that. The reason why this is taking longer, aside from the fact that we're doing things that are a little bit complicated, do y'all know what Rockstar Editor is? To be honest, I didn't know what Rockstar Editor was before Travis and Jagger introduced me to it, so it's been completely new to me. I had never used it before. But it's essentially, if you ever see those GTA RP videos, music videos, where they're able to get these really insane shots, and you're like, how are they doing that? Like, they're able to get close-ups, car chases, pans, and you're like, how are they doing this with their GTA characters? How does it even make sense, you know? They use a thing called Rockstar Editor, and basically how it works is you can film something, right? You can film something, and then you go back in time. Like, once you have that footage, you can then use Rockstar Editor to put the camera anywhere you want. And so this is just taking a little bit longer because typically Jagger will record the footage, then he'll give it to me, then I'll edit it. But this time he's asked me to like actually film on the server. So basically he and Travis gave me admin rights so that I could design a character and like do everything that I need to do and film it all with Rockstar Editor, right? So I'm actually filming this time on the server. Really, how we figured it out is that Jagger would control his character, and then I will go back and I just like match everything he does, but I film it with Rockstar Editor because I myself have to be the one recording it, right? So I basically retrace his steps essentially, right? But then I film with Rockstar Editor so that I can go back and I can get all the angles that I want and that I need. Hi, Mia. So one, it's been a lot of work because this week I've mainly just been working on the server itself with Travis and getting it prepped to look how we want it to look, you know, because they just have a very clear idea of how I want it to be. So it's been, I had to download 5M, I had to get into the server and all of that, and then prep everything. And then once I had everything prepped on that server, then I had to go in and then Jagger recorded and did all the recordings. Not all of them. There's still a final scene we need to do. It's a little more complicated, but then he recorded. Then I watched his recordings. Then I went back on the server and then I mirrored everything he did, followed his pathing so that but while using Rockstar Editor so that I can do close-ups of his feet, of his face on the side, pans, like, y'all, this thing, like, it is amazing what you can do with it. Like, it looks like a movie. I can pick any shot I want of Chatterbox. I could put the camera anywhere I want. Like, I can place it I can do everything as though someone is there with the camera filming it, right? So it will look like a movie, you know? It'll look like someone was able to get close-ups of Chatty and all that stuff. So, but it's taking a lot of time. For example, I spent, you know, 2 days, pretty much all day, editing and getting all, like, finally using Rockstar Editor, getting all the right shots, lining it up. I got the entire opening done. And then Jagger and I realized that there's things that are in the scene that need to be removed. So now Travis has to go back into the coding on the server, remove certain things, and then I have to reshoot. So I have to go back and refilm everything. And then I was like, oh my God, no way. But there is a possibility that Rockstar Editor, when we delete things, that Rockstar Editor will actually remember. It will actually, like, because when you load Rockstar Editor, it goes in and it finds the game file. And if certain items are gone, there's a possibility it will actually be removed in the recordings I've already done. We are unsure. The jury is still out. I might have to redo everything, but oh my God, just like creatively being able to be like, I want this to pan on, you know, Chatterbox's feet. I want this to be on his side. I want him to walk into the frame. I want something to come into focus in the distance, right? So he's like looking out in the distance, and then you change the focus so that you can see what he's looking at. You know what I mean? It's going to be awesome. The thing is, it's taking a little bit of time too, though, because I am learning how to use Rockstar Editor. I've never used it before. Jagger brought it up. He was like, hey, have you ever used Rockstar Editor before? Travis thinks it would be sick. And I was like, I'll learn. I'll learn. Because then for future edits and stuff, we can always do this, right? Because I have permissions to the server. My character looks like his character. And I can always do this. What Travis is able to do is mind-boggling. I can say to him, you know, like, I want you to remove this thing. I want you to put, I can say to him, I want you to put an NPC here that looks like this, that does this action, and he can do it immediately. I was like, hey, can you put this person on the on a bridge or on the field or whatever, you know? And he's like, okay. He just does it, dude. He's amazing. Like, it's true. He's so talented, bro. Like, it's like, and I'm just excited because y'all know that I make my edits like movies, right? So my biggest inspiration is like to make it look as close to film as possible. This is also why I don't use lyrics in the scores that I choose, right? I want you to forget that you're watching a video game, and I want it to feel like anything that could take you out of it, I want it to be removed, and I want the viewer to feel like they're watching something cinematic. It's my main objective, right? That and making people cry are my two main objectives, right? So I'm very excited because with Rockstar Editor, we can make it look like that. We can make it look like a movie, you know? So it's not too tricky to use. It is just like a little finicky at times. You know what I mean? It's a little finicky. Like, you know, if you have something follow someone, it drags. So you have to like, oh, there's so many little things that I'm learning. Yeah. To what you said, Ty, I think that I didn't crash out because this is the coolest thing ever. You guys, I'm making like cinema on my hyperfixation. I'm able to be Chatterbox and film and shoot every shot exactly how I want it to be, you know? Like I'm able to, I'm essentially, my creative brain is maximally fulfilled. Like I'm getting to control the music, you know, and Jagger is so awesome. He lets me have input on like what should happen and like and that is like, I'm gonna cry, bro. No tears. I just like, that's the coolest thing ever, dude. It's truly unbelievable. Like the fact that this is something that I get paid to do. And like to have my creative passions fulfilled for something that I hyperfixate on and I just enjoy in my own free time, right? And to get to be involved in every part of that process is just absolutely insane. So, dude, yes, I think it's very, very, humbling. You know what I mean? It's very humbling that he like wants to hear my input. I just think, dude, it's unreal, bro. It's actually unreal. And he's super busy. So the good news about me being able to be on this private server and have a lookalike of him and everything is that he's very busy. So a lot of this stuff I can just do for him, you know, so that y'all, I don't know how he does it. He like works on his house. He like straight. He does it all, bro. He is insane. So, I, on the other hand, chronically online with like a flexible job and all these things, I have the time. So it's awesome this time because I can sort of like help him out with a lot of this stuff, and he can just focus on streaming and things like that. So he's been going live, and then I've been on the server. And dude, shout out to Travis. I ask him 1,000,001 questions. Y'all, let me tell you this, okay? On this server that he builds, he has like 1,000 filters and effects that you can choose from. You can pick the weather, the time of day, bro. I can like fly to anywhere on the map to shoot anywhere I want to shoot, bro. It's freaking crazy. Did I go through all 1,000 filters? Maybe I did. Maybe I did. I had to see them all, you know what I mean? I had to see them all. Yeah, so that is the update. Now, at this point, okay, babe, I knew you were going to call me out on that. I had to see what all 1,000 looked like at a different place on the map. She knew. She was like, I went to a different place on the map, and I was like, I'm going to try and pick, you know, something different here or whatever that I think would be good to like set the tone. And she's like, you're going to go through all 1,000 again. I was like, no, I'm not. And I did. I went through all 1,000 again. It has to be perfect, dude. It has to be perfect. It's got to be the exact right weather, the exact right filter, the exact right locations. It has to be perfect. Yes, it's true. I am a perfectionist, bro. I really am. So at this point, this is where we're at, okay? Travis now has to go back on the server and remove some stuff because I sent Jagger what I had done thus far, and he was just like, I don't think this works. And I was like, I think you're right. So, but it's like serious coding shit. Like, bro is gonna go in and just do a bunch of stuff that's gonna take a couple days. He has tomorrow off, which is great. So he's gonna do that then. And then I'm gonna go back and film again if I have to. The good news is this, chat. The good news is this. I already know all the shots that I want done and how I want them done for the scene I already did, for the opening scene, which I finished. So I'll just retrace my steps. I'll just retrace my steps as his character, and I will just film it again. But it's nice because, like, I can set, when I'm filming, I can set the camera anywhere I want because it doesn't matter with Rockstar Editor, right? So, like, Chatterbox can walk, and I can just set the camera anywhere because then in post, I can go and move it to however I want it, you know? So it's more like in post with Rockstar Editor, getting the exact right angle of the feet of the, and then I bring in a bunch of other sound effects, you know? Right? Because you want to be able to hear the environment, but there can't be any distracting noises there, right? Sometimes in GTA, there's like a coyote that repeats itself 50 times, you know? Or like you know, maybe you want wind. Maybe I don't know, you have to, and then I layer in a bunch of sounds in the back, and then, you know, you gotta add in, oh, this is another thing, y'all. This is another thing. Usually when we make these, all the like audio is done, like it's all done in the moment. Okay? So normally Jagger films it, but this one is gonna be a little bit different. This one, we're filming all the visuals first, then we're going back in and we're gonna overlay everything. So it got a little complicated, so I created a outline for the cinematic of all the dialogue that is needed, whose dialogue we need, all this stuff. Travis has brought in some other people on the server. It's gonna be awesome, y'all. Babe, that's crazy. So what can we expect from this new one? I am not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. I'll tell you this much. I will reveal and expand upon as much as Jagger gives y'all, you know? So if he leaks something in, you know, when he's streaming this week, then sadness me. You guys think that I would make a sad cinematic? Guys, we know this is not me. I'm goofy, fun, laughing time. Bringing in heart-wrenching movie scores, which, by the way, all the ones I found are royalty-free, and they're amazing. I wouldn't do that. And the fact that you guys would accuse me of that is crazy. That's crazy. My objective, making y'all cry? Dude, so I was talking about this with Travis, and I'm not gonna, like, spill too much. But we were talking about how the fact that no one else has really done what Jagger is doing in RP. And people bring in music videos, which is very cool, and usually what Rockstar Editor is used for. But actually telling stories narratively is just, in this cinematic way, it's not... He's taking it to another level, and Travis is inspired by that. You know what I mean? So he's really trying to make his server a place where things can be created, you know? Very easy to learn, very cool. Like, he's been very fast to reply and all of those things despite working a job if I have anything I want to, like, adjust or change. Dude, like, actually, I agree. RP Streamer of the Year. I agree. Timeline wise, we're still, I'll say it's going to be sooner than a month, more than a couple days, you know? So, like, we still have some more time, but it's because there's just things that we want to do that is going to take some time coding wise, editing wise. We have to get all the dialogue done. And then because the dialogue's done in post, I'm going to have to directionally make it make sense. So if you guys remember, what was the last cinematic I made for him? I think it was the Purgatory edit. If y'all remember in that edit, Giblet's music was playing outside and then they walked outside together. All of that was added in, like, the music was added in post, and I basically made it sound like it was coming from outside the house. When he opened the door, the music got louder, right? As he walked towards him, it got louder. And then for that Giblet section, that was actually almost, if I remember correctly, almost an hour long. And I had to cut it down from like an hour because I didn't want it to drag too much, right? I already knew it was going to be a long sequence. So I had to cut it down and like reduce the length of it. And the tricky thing about that is that when you're moving audio around, one, it has to, thank God they wear masks. Because when I'm doing it with somebody that's unmasked, I have to try and find a moment where it looks like the audio matches what they're saying. Because don't you guys think as a viewer, when it doesn't match and you're watching a cinematic, it takes you out of it? Like if you're watching something and like the character is moving their lips but nothing is being said, like it's distracting, right? I think it's distracting. So I get very perfectionistic and I want to line it and make it look supernatural. And then you have to change the direction. So you can't, if Giblets is standing to the right of Chatter, you have to place it in the viewer's ear as though he said it in that moment from that direction. So it can be, yeah, it does feel strange. And that's the cool, I think the cool thing about, like when you're watching like roleplay live, it doesn't really bother me as much, you know? Because the viewer is understanding that all of this, we're supposed to just like accept the immersion, right? You can only do so much when like there's gameplay. But I think it's different if you're watching a cinematic. If you're watching a cinematic and the viewer is like, none of it's happening like live, then you do notice it. You're the GOAT, your contributors are a huge innovation and the qualities are precedented. Dude, what? Oh, thank you. Thank you, dude. I appreciate that. I feel like RP, it gives me, like, as a person in post, as an editor, as a creative, it gives me so much to work with. Like, y'all give me so much to work with. It's like, it's a feast. And I think the issue is not the issue, but the like puzzle to solve is taking that incredible work that is done in RP and then making it so that the viewer can be immersed as possible when it's being displayed like in a cinematic way. Because I think I think another example, y'all, is like when a character starts walking, their first 2 steps is different than their actual walk itself, right? Or when someone dies, you know, they have that thing on their screen that says that they're dead. And like, there's all these things when they're in a car, there's the mini map, and all of those things are fine when you're watching it live. But if you're watching a cinematic, those little things matter a lot, I think. Dude, I get a little, thank you, babe. I get very, you know, perfectionistic about it, I think. But because also though, chat, because I want to honor what these our peers are doing. Like, I want to like truly honor it and elevate it, because I think what is done live is just insane. Like, they're so unbelievably talented and entertaining, and I just want to pay respect to that, like, you know, in quality, in like a cinematic way. You know what I mean? I just think, and respect to the viewers who are incredibly emotionally invested because of the amazing RP that is done. They are incredibly emotionally invested and care so much about these characters and these stories. And like, they want to feel something, you know? They want something they can look back on. And like, you know, I just think I want to try and like, for the community, for the RPers, and this will be, yes, this will be very cool. This will be very cool because we're using Rockstar Editor. It will be different. I have a feeling I'll learn a lot, and I'll know in the future things I want to change, things I want to do differently. But we're essentially making a mini movie, you know, to represent something cool in Chatterbox's life. So, and I think it's perfect because the RP is still improv, you know? Like, it's essentially, an RPer has general bullet points, right? Of where they want to take their journey. Sometimes it doesn't happen that way. Sometimes an RPer can have bullet points in their mind, and then something happens in RP and it changes. But in general, they have a basic idea of like, this is kind of the direction I want to take it. But everything else is improv. And I think making these types of cinematics is just a way to highlight that bullet point. So everything in RP is still improv. It's still true to that, you know, but it's more making a bullet point cinematic, right? Making a bullet point like extra impactful, and everything else still happens the way it happens. So I think it's a cool way to bring in cinema while also still being true to like RP being improv, right? Very cool. It's very, very cool. So that is the update on the edit. It's just gonna take a little bit longer. I'm gonna be working on this for a little bit. I've stopped the Chatter Cup cinematic that Jagger asked me to do. Well, I'm gonna be making a cinematic for every chapter in Chatterbox's life. The one I'm working on right now is for his main channel. Let me snooze this. It's for his main channel, and it's capturing like the beginning part of he and Raymond's like story. So, but this time, unlike other things I've made, this is really showing the way that they were enemies, the prank calls, all of that. I've just sort of put that on hold for right now, so that we can focus on filming, getting the shots, doing this project that he has me working on. So it'll be a little bit longer, but it will be, y'all, it will be worth it when it does release. It will be worth it. Yes. Thank you all. Appreciate all the support. I just wanted to yap about it a little bit. No spoilers, no leaks. Because this has been, I feel like I haven't really gotten too far into the editing portion, you know? I've spent a lot of the time just on the server acting as Chatterbox and filming all the shots that we need. And then making the server look certain ways that we want. So that's, but now we're going to be moving on to the like editing portion. And then Jagger's still going to be sending me voice lines and things like that, the dialogue and all that stuff that will go in after. Yes. That's the tea, y'all. That's the tea. I'm very excited about it. It should be really cool. Definitely probably my favorite project I've ever worked on ever. I think just because I get to be so like involved in the process, right?